Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Small Business Treasury. And I had a question that came in through one of my friends, who's kind of aware of what I do. And they wanted to ask, what is a money market fund? I've mentioned that in passing in other videos, and from my experience, money market fund is just a term that is used in the corporate language. You know, that we're familiar with. But for smaller organizations, small business owners, for founders, for growing companies, they've probably never heard of a money market fund, or maybe they heard of it, but they don't know exactly what it is, right? So today I want to explain what a money market fund is. A money market fund is a very, very important aspect of the Treasury department. All right. And it's very, very important that growing businesses that are very, very profitable, that have very good liquidity, are aware of this Treasury tool, because it's actually a very, very important type of a tool that is useful in your organization. Right. So a money market fund is just another corporate way of saying high yield savings account for corporations. That's just, if you want to simplify the concept, that's what it is. It's a high yield savings account for corporations, but it's very liquid, right? So the difference between a high yield savings account and a money market fund is that a high yield savings account, you're probably limited as to how many transactions you can do in a certain month or in a certain time frame. In a money market fund for corporations, you have daily liquidity, right? So you can make as many transactions in it and many transactions out on a daily basis as you need. And on a money market fund, they are typically having a net asset value of 1, right? So then with whatever type of money market fund you are able to obtain, usually through your financial institution, is going to depend on the type of securities that are within that money market fund, right? So I can give the example that we use at my organization. We use a very large institution, and we use a money market fund that is backed by government bonds and government securities, right? So our yield is based on a annual yield, but we have daily liquidity, right? So the most common I've seen that the yield that is available from financial institutions that provide good, stable liquidity, good daily liquidity, and fairly competitive yields is about 3 to 4%. That's typically the range that you will get for a money market fund that's stable, that's not volatile, and at the same time that have liquidity. So you are able to access that capital on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and you can go in and out as many transactions depending on the setup structure you have with your financial institution, right? So a money market fund is usually directly tied to your checking account, your business checking account. And it's a very useful tool, because as organizations continue to grow, there may be times throughout the weeks and months that you are basically stacking cash or saving. And those savings could be used for maybe an acquisition. It could be for further expansion. It could be used for preparation of financing of equipment. It could be used for preparing for bonuses for the end of the year for your employees. So any type of savings or capital saving that you're preparing for in the near future, you want to put that money into a high yield financial instrument that's going to benefit you by collecting interest, right? Now, at a small level, the interest is very minimal. At the larger level, I've seen money market funds that produce $200,000 in interest earnings each month, right? So it just depends on the corporation size, but the habit of having that feature and that function within your organization as a treasury function is very, very important, because you're now putting your capital to work, right? It's designed specifically to put excess cash into this account that collects yield while you wait for your next big move, whether that's an acquisition, land expansion, financing equipment, payroll for bonus end of year, whatever the case may be. You are specifically putting that money away and collecting interest while you wait. But there's another function for the money market fund, And this is very common for organizations on a daily operation, because it's not it's very useful dual way. And what I mean by that is, if you structure your organization in a way where you can collect receivables at the beginning of the month, and then you have your payables at the end of the month, that spread in between receivables and disbursements, there's opportunity for you to collect interest on the cash that you're going to disperse. So let me rephrase that. If you collect $1 million in revenue in the beginning of the month, maybe you're a landlord, maybe you have several pieces of real estate or type of a business that's producing a lot of cash flow that pays in the beginning of the month. But at the end of the month, you have $800,000 in payables, and your net profit is $200,000. That's good, right? You have $200,000 profit. You have $1 million in revenue, $800,000 in disbursements. But this is the beauty of a money market fund, because while you collected your revenue in the beginning of the month, at the end of the month you have your payables. But until you make those payable payments, you can collect interest on that $800,000 that you have to disperse. Okay, so now $800,000 that is already set. It's already in your checking account, ready to disperse at the end of the month for your payables. You're just waiting for the date to come, your due date. Maybe it's for debt service, whatever it may be. You have that money already pre-allocated for those payables. But while you wait for that date to arrive, you can go ahead and move it to the money market fund and collect interest. That's the beauty of the money market fund. You are using it capital that's already assigned for payables, and you can use it to collect interest while you wait in the interim. Okay, so you take $800,000 and then you wait your 15-20 days until your payables are due. You're collecting interest on that capital. And because it's a money market fund, which if you do it properly with the very properly structured with your banking manager or a third party institution, it should be liquid, meaning whenever you need the money, you can access it no matter what. And it's NAV at 1-to-1, meaning that there's no risk of your principal being reduced, because that's the point of a money market fund. It's not an investment account. It's a money market fund, meaning your money comes from the annual interest, which is between 3 and 4%, without the risk of dropping on the principal value. Okay, meaning you take your $800,000, you put it into your money market fund with no risk of losing your principal, but in the interim, within those 10-15 days, maybe 21 days until you have to pay out those payables, you're collecting interest on that capital. Now you compound that over several months, several years. Now you start generating revenue. Now eventually you get to the point where you're generating $2, $3, $4, $20,000 in interest from revenue that was just supposed to be sitting in your bank account doing nothing. That is the beauty of the money market fund. I've conversed with other treasury managers in the corporate world where they've talked about that many times. Corporations, they use the interest from the money market fund to pay out their end of year bonuses to the employees. It's a hedge against your payables at the end of the year, or it's another source of additional revenue from your corporation that doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no risk, and it's always available. It's always liquid, right? That's the beauty of the money market fund. It's meant to be an instrument for your treasury function. It's not meant to be an investment of any type of sort. So that's the importance, or that's the beauty of having a money market fund integrated into your treasury department, into your organization, because you're not collecting revenue from cash that is just sitting idle in your bank account while it's being waited to be dispersed, right? So those are ways that many corporations, and at the large multi-billion-dollar corporations, they're generating $200,000 in interest income alone, right? 200,000 times 12 is $2.4 million a year in interest income. $2.4 million in interest income pays their bonuses for the employees at the end of the year, right? So that's or a portion of it, maybe not all of it, but a portion of it. So it hedges out your obligations. Those are similar. Those are some of the ways of the benefits of having a money market fund integrated into your organization, and something that as a C-suite or a founder or an executive or a CFO or head of accounting, you should probably consider that in discussing with the individual who makes the decisions, right? And consider implementing it into your organization to generate additional cash. Anyways, that's all for today's video. If you have more questions, send them in the comments or send them to me personally. I like to help out as many people as I can. If you want to talk to me personally, I'm doing free sessions. Just go to the website, book a call with me, and we can discuss the specific problem or specific scenario that you're facing that you want to get some advice on and expertise. That from a treasury perspective, I've been doing this for over 10 years. So I'm more than happy to help out in any way that I can. Anyways, that's all for today's video. Until next one.